All right, guys, well, I'm back today with a brand new bolt action 22 offering from Savage, the Savage Arms B22 FV-SR chambered in 22 long rifle. Now, I love Savage bolt actions, especially the Savage bolt actions chambered in 22 because they're affordable, they're accurate, they're nimble, and they are quiet when they have a threaded barrel with a can on the end. So this updated version with the 10-round rotary mag makes a lot of sense. A lot of times the weak link in some of those Savage 22s was that single stack metal mag. A lot of the times some of the feed lips would separate or they would just press together and they weren't the best quality. And honestly, that was my only complaint with a lot of those rifles, but that has since been resolved with those 10-round flush-fitting rotary mags, a more ergonomic stock, but the same great performance of the AccuTrigger and threaded barrel. Let's dig in to the specs and features of this, as well as its performance down at the range. Now, I want to start off with a little bit of my history with Savage. I've actually never worked with them on the channel directly. I've always just grabbed their guns used or new and have reviewed them independently, and that's the same with this one. I picked this one up used, but it was in like new condition with 4 mags, so I figured, what the heck, I got a good deal. Now, the standard MSRP is right around $330-ish for this particular setup, so even new, it's very affordable, making this into that kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily the bottom tier budget entry-level 22s because you get some enhanced features, but it's also not the most expensive precision 22 out there. If you're a precision 22 shooter, you know those can get up well over $1,000. So I would say this is a very high value option with a lot of nice features over a standard base model. We're going to start at the front, work our way to the back, then we'll talk about its performance down at the range. We are looking at a 1/2x28 threaded barrel, and it's a heavier profile barrel, which is nice. It doesn't actually heat up or worry about flexing after an extended round count, although you don't really have to worry about that with 22. It's just nicer with that kind of mid-size barrel profile. It's also pretty cool because this is a 16.25-inch barrel, so it's going to be very small and nimble. So if you're throwing this in a rig to go out to varmint hunt, or you're taking beavers out at a pond, or you're going squirrel hunting, having a small and nimble package is nice, whether you're putting it on the back of an ATV, slinging this over your shoulder and carrying it in the woods, or throwing it in the passenger seat of a side-by-side. Having that smaller barrel is really nice. Very nice feature right there. And again, we'll talk about the accuracy in the performance section. Now, that barrel is free floated in this newer stock system that Savage has kind of come out with. A very nice ergonomic stock. It sweeps in where you want it, has some nice texturing, sling swivel in the front, goes back to an oversized trigger guard, which is great if you're hunting in the late fall, early winter with gloved fingers. And then you also have a really nice ergonomic stock. And I love what companies are doing with this stock. It's almost a dual stock pistol grip combo where it sweeps down pretty dramatically and then it sweeps back up, making it very comfortable and ergonomic and very easy to access the controls. The stock also has a built-in cheek weld, which is nice because that allows you to get the proper height for something like an LPVO or scope. And then at the back, you have just a polymer kind of ish butt pad. So nothing super fancy there, and another sling swivel. Now, the action on this guy is really smooth. The bolt on this has some nice texturing and knurling on the side, so very easy to grab. Now, some of those other previous Savages had like a more oversized bolt, and then some of them had a smaller rounded bolt. This one's kind of like a hybrid in between. It does a good job. Again, not the most amazing, but pretty darn good, and the action on this is super smooth. The trigger is going to be one of the Savage AccuTriggers. They always do a good job with the adjustability there, and I love the AccuTriggers across the board, whether they're on a 22 or whether they're on a full-size 300 Win Mag. They're doing a great job, and again, I wouldn't say they are the best match trigger ever put in a bolt gun, but they are one of the best triggers ever put in a high-value and budget gun. Savage just really kills it when it comes to that. Now, this is going to be drilled and tapped with that rail on the top, ready to go for optics. And that's what I love about these Savages too. They're kind of already ready out of the gate with the threaded barrel and the rails on the top and the oversized bolts and the AccuTriggers to give you that more value right out of the box, ready to go for a wide variety of applications. But this is not going to be your iron sight little bolt action plinker. It's going to be a dedicated optics gun, whether you're throwing a red dot, LPVO, or scope. Now let's talk about performance. I ran 4 different types of ammo, all at different velocities and all for different purposes. We have the standard, what I'm calling mini mag. This is what I would go with for varmint hunting up close, where you're not worried about sound suppression, just a good, reliable HP round. Then you have something like a little bit higher performance for hunting applications, the mini mag segmented hollow point. And then we also have standard velocity and quiet, which are both going to be great for running a can. Off the bat, I saw really good groupings and great accuracy out of the mini mags, on par with previous Savage versions, maybe even a touch better, but that just could be me on that day shooting. Plenty accurate. I mean, it absolutely kills it with whatever ammo you're putting in. Switching over to the segmented hollow points, worked out great, no issues there. And then where this gun really shines, in my opinion, is when you throw a can on the end. Again, because you are clearing over the top of the can with an LPVO or optic, you don't have to worry about that and lining up your iron sights. The shorter 16-inch barrel makes it great to add a cane on the end and still have a smaller compact package. And the sound suppression is amazing on a closed bolt gun, especially with ammo going subsonic, and both of these will be traveling subsonic out the end of the gun. Now, I sighted everything at 50 yards, but I did take all of these rounds out to 100 yards to see the performance. Now, there was some more drop with the 1070 feet per second standard velocity, but it was actually very manageable to sight this in at 50, but still be usable at 100 with the correct holdovers. I noticed that the accuracy did not grade at 100. It did great. I mean, it was really impressive to see this rifle perform out to 100 yards effectively with standard velocity once you learned your holds for that particular load. The next one was the CCI Quiet. This was 710 feet per second, 40 grain rounds. And for me, this was very effective, like 50 yards and in for like a silent varmint getter. Even without a can on the end, running this ammo was hearing safe. And that's pretty cool. That's the other cool thing about a closed breech gun, meaning the action stays closed while the gases are escaping down the barrel. Keeps all those gases at the end of the barrel. And with this stuff right here, it gets a full burn before leaving the end of the barrel. So you don't get a ton of powder built up in your can. And it just works out really well, especially when it comes to being quiet. Now with the Ruger RXD can on the end of it, which was a collaboration with Dead Air, the action was louder than the round firing. On top of that, when the trigger clicked on an empty chamber, it was actually louder than when it clicked on a round and fired. It the rim of the 22 deadened the sound of the firing pin, and it was quieter than when this clicked on an empty chamber. That is insane to me to run this ammo. Again, 50 yards and in, this little quiet stuff, you're plinking rats, and the person in the next room wouldn't even know you're doing it. The standard velocity was also incredibly quiet, but a little bit more practical for standard varmint hunting, even out to, I potentially say 100 yards, but I don't know how effective the round would be. But again, 50 yards and in, you're going to be good all day for varmint hunting. The action was incredibly smooth running these rounds. The rotary mags on this guy was also really nice and easy to use. These rotary mags are very simple to load, very reminiscent of a Ruger 1022 style mag, but nowhere near close to compatibility. These are going to be independent Savage mags, but I've seen a lot of these in a lot of their series. I've been running one of the 17 HMRs, which is also a tack driver, but in the precision chassis. And I like these mags. So no issues there. They run really good. They insert and lock up pretty good. And overall, the feed in this thing is just super reliable. And I haven't had any issues with the mags like some of the straight wall mags. In summary, I like it. I think this is honestly going to be one of the new kings of the bolt action 22 world. It's going to be hard to beat for this particular niche of optics ready threaded barrel guns for this price point. I love it. I think you might too. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What 22s you guys are running today. I'd really like to hear your thoughts and opinions, because maybe there's something new that I missed and need to check out. Have a good one.